Good evening. Well, it was 13 weeks ago that we all met and had a launch party, and we sent Pastor off on his sabbatical, and he's come back home. Yay! So while he's away, yes, we missed him very much. While he was away, before he went, we had the word hope that we were using, that we would hope that the time that we were apart would be a time for growth and renewal and learning for both us as a congregation and for Pastor. And I think we did as a congregation. Things ran fairly smoothly while he was gone. We had so many people step up and help out and do things that they hadn't been doing before. And I would like to take this opportunity to especially thank the sabbatical team, consisting of Mitzi Eddy. I think they may still be out there working in on the dinner. Lee Wheeler, Cheryl Sheehan, Art Bick, and Bill Flint. So thank you to you five. So they led the charge and got a bunch of volunteers, and everything just worked. So this is supposed to be some storytelling, and Pastor wanted to hear a story from us, so I have one. This was on Sunday, the last Sunday in June. It was a single service. We had some special visitors. We had a guy that came. He was the architect of this sanctuary. He was here in town visiting his mom. He said he lives in Washington. He was here visiting his mother, and he brought his mother to church that Sunday. And he was asking us some questions. He remembered the tree, and he was asking about the tree, so we told him the story of the tree. And then the other question he asked was, how in the heck do you change the light bulbs? And so we had Clark come in and explain that, but that brings up a question. How many ILC congregants does it take to change a light bulb? So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Pastor Derek and let him talk about his exploits in the past 13 weeks.
Hello. It is good to be back. It is. And thank you for being here tonight to participate in this. This is a bit overwhelming to me already to see all of you. I hope I don't get emotional, but I never do, right? So, yeah. And I want to thank Art Bick for doing the live stream today and those who are joining via live stream, including my parents from San Diego. So, hi, Mom and Papa. Good to have you here. Thank you for supporting me over the past 3 months in my one and only sabbatical in my ministry career. So this was very special for me. This is not only a look back tonight, but it's also a look forward, okay, where we're going to go from here. The initial plan for my sabbatical was what would bring me refreshment. What would make my heart sing? R&R. What I came up with initially was reviewing verses that I had memorized from the Bible, scripture memory, reading the Bible, journaling. That's what I thought would bring me refreshment. Now, I did some of that. I did. And it did bring me refreshment, but not as much as I had initially planned. Those things. I also was on the look for what I call God sightings. Where do I find the hand of God in this day? Where do I see God at work in this day? I discovered that the answer to that was mostly through people. Their grace, their generosity, their compassion, shown to me or shown to others. I'll give you a couple of examples. I was just on my way from Phoenix to London on the second of my three flights to get me to Spain. Right next to me on the plane was a couple from Prescott, Arizona, a Methodist couple, Jack, a Methodist couple. They were celebrating that day their 47th wedding anniversary. We had a nice conversation. They were wonderful Christian people, and I told them that I saw the hand of God in them that first day. A wonderful example to me of married lovers. The next one was in Spain. A young man by the name of Jordi, athletic, black Spaniard at a Madrid hotel, who helped me make travel arrangements to get from Madrid to Spain the next day when I was supposed to start the walk. It consisted of 2 train rides, a bit of a walk, and a bus ride that finally got me to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, the beginning of the Camino. A couple days into the route, I met a 27-year-old Lithuanian woman named Luka. We shared some stories about the first 2 days, and she told me a story of the first day when she was making the ascent up the Pyrenees. She saw an older man who was having some trouble, having some altitude sickness. So she said, I went over to see, if I could help him. And she shared a little bit about their engagement, and then she said, he ended up praying for me. And it brought me to tears, she said. She was already emotionally moved, and his praying for her brought her to tears. I told Luka, you are the hand of God for me. Then there was an unnamed pilgrim leaving a restaurant in Rabanal de Camino, who told us as we were entering the restaurant, as he was leaving, he said, if you want a great meal, order the hamburger. You'll be praising Jesus afterwards. So we did, and we did. I met people from Australia, Brazil, Canada, Croatia, Denmark, England, France, Germany, Ireland, Netherlands, Art, New Zealand, Scotland, and even Spain. What did I do over sabbatical this 3 months? The first month I spent in Spain alone. The next 2 months was with my family. We went to different places. I'll show you some of that. Lots of family time, which was great. The Camino de Santiago, I walked, hiked 605 miles. If you head from here south, you'll get to Mexico. But when I got back, silly me, I walked another 175 miles, 450 miles on the bike, and about 2,500 miles in the car. I read 10 books over sabbatical, and I rested, and I napped. With Nola, we walked along the beach, we watched movies. The Camino part of it, many times people would ask each other, why are you doing the Camino? Why are you walking the Camino? The question came up dozens of times. Is it for spiritual renewal? Answer, yes. Was it for adventure? My answer, yes. Was it for community, the people? Yes, it was. But it was also what God would bring before me. What was around the next corner that I had no idea would come? Just trying to be aware of that and recognize what God would bring. What lessons did I learn? The first one I would say is humility. It's a lesson that is never fully learned, but it is one that I learned. I thought I was pretty well prepared for this journey. I had been walking a lot, hiking a lot, but I was not prepared for what happened. was not prepared for the suffering, the pain from being afflicted with blisters on toes and heels and feet, and having to keep going despite that. About a week in, I was seriously considering throwing in the towel and being done. And I was feeling so dejected that I was going to miss out on this. I felt like I was going to let you guys down. And forever, my son would call me a wimp after that. But somebody along the way said, you know, everybody's feeling the same thing. Just keep going. And so I thought, well, I hope I don't permanently damage myself and toes don't fall off. And I kept going. Humility, being afflicted in that sense, slowed down, hobbled for most of the Camino as I was limping for about the first mile of every day. That was tough. It was a humbling experience. Need for community, another lesson that I learned. I had expected this to be a solo event, a lot of quiet time, contemplative time, just thinking through things by myself. But very, very quickly, you realize that there are other people on this journey along with you, all doing the same thing. And a community forms. You get to know different people. They come in and out of your lives for the next 35 days. I planned to go solo most of the days, but about a week in, I met somebody who is a retired pastor about my age, and guess what? We had several things in common. So we hit it off, and we spent pretty much the rest of the Camino either walking together, most meals together, and ended up having a good friendship. I also learned how the human body can adapt. I will tell you that the bottom of my left foot, my little toe, by the time I was done, the bottom of that toe was as hard as a tortoise shell. I'm not joking. And it took a full month or two for that to fall off of my foot. The heels, the back of my heels became like, glossy, hard, just amazing how the body can adapt. I don't need to get into more of that. It was also another lesson that was learned was a refocusing of how to see life. We didn't talk politics almost at all. Yeah, how nice. It really was. To see life through a lens that is not the lens that we normally see life through every day. To be just walking out in God's nature. And being fully present, whatever the day would bring. To just enjoy. And to see people, in these small villages just chatting away for hours. And thinking, they probably do this every day. And what kind of relationships do these people have with each other? What kind of community do they enjoy? That was really cool. The grace of God, big lesson. The grace of God, which has been so important to me in my life. In the Bible verses that I reviewed, and the many life stories that I was able to listen to, the interactions that I shared with others on that Camino, the grace of God was there. The Camino de Santiago. Santiago means James. It took me a while to put it together, but the town where I'm from, San Diego, is the same. San Diego, Santiago. It's the same. St. James. So I felt like I had come full circle, walking the Camino de Santiago. That light bulb went off along the journey. But I also came to realize that this way of St. James, I kind of renamed it, the Camino de Pastor Derek. the Camino is a metaphor for life. And we all have different caminos. We all walk different paths, even on the same road. Our experience is different. So it became a very personal thing. From Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port in France to Santiago de Compostela is 525 miles. The same distance that I ride my bicycle down the coast of California every year for the past 13 years, but not this year, because I walked it. I used that to raise money for the Arthritis Foundation, and to date, I've raised about $38,000 this year. Many of you, thank you. So all that applause goes back to you, because you're the ones who have supported me in this endeavor. And of course, after that 525 miles, that wasn't enough for me. I had to keep going to get to a place called Finisterre, and then another one called Muxía, an extra 80 miles to that 525. I learned that in Spain, a tortilla is not what you buy when you're going to make a burrito here, right, at home. A tortilla is like a quiche in Spain, an egg dish with potato and sometimes cheese. If you order a tostada in Spain, you don't have an open-faced taco like you would here. A tostada is simply toast with bread, or toast with butter and jam. That's a tostada. Pulpo, do you know what pulpo is? Octopus. It is yummy. Yeah, had that a couple of occasions, and a lot of ham and cheese. It's even better when it's deep fried. I had that on my second day. It was awesome. I wish I could have remembered the name of it. All right. This whole Camino de Santiago, I want to say, I'm blaming the ILC hiking group in general. I'm blaming you guys for this. And specifically, I'm blaming the one who's doing the slideshow, Rick and Jan Jernberg, who got me into this. But seriously, it was a wonderful, wonderful journey over in Spain. I would do it again, but I probably wouldn't have permission from my wife to do it again and be gone that long. So here are some slides. I'll narrate some of them, but otherwise we'll just see what's here. This is where it starts in Saint-Jean, France. April 30, or the 29th of April is when I arrived. This is the Pilgrim's office. Keep going, Rick. Yeah, this is a view of the town. Beautiful little place in France. And then the first day, you journey up and over the Pyrenees. These are the Pyrenees. And they earn my respect. About 4,000 feet of climbing that day. One of the hardest days on the Camino. Stop for 1 second, Rick. So that first day, from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, France, to Roncesvalles, Spain, that first day, I completed on the 30th of April. On the 15th of May, we saw pictures of people who had snow up what I just showed you on that clear day. Yeah, so the mountains. So this is day 2. That is the biggest, fattest horse I have ever seen. And he had a bell on him, you see there, that looked like a cowbell. And he kind of looks like a cow. And there you see the sign, 755 kilometers to go to get to Santiago. Now, I passed this, and I came back to it. You're looking at the bottom of a tree, if you can't figure that out. You're looking at the bottom of a tree, and it's quite a big tree. And what has happened to the tree? It's fallen over. I saw that, and the word that came to me was humility. Even when you are strong, you can fall. Wow, what a lesson, and what a lesson it would be. Okay, keep going. This is the end of day 2. You can't lead a horse to water. Well, evidently you can. Or you can lead a horse to water, you can't make him drink. And then Basque Country was, you can keep going, Rick. Basque Country was the first several days in Spain. Beautiful area, hard to pronounce words. That's Pamplona, day 3. And you see the Camino signs like that all along the way, either right there on the ground or on signs. You'll see them along the way here. This is still day 3, hiking up, and that's what you see at the top. We had quite a bit of rain the first week, probably reason for some of the blisters. Lots of murals along the way, flowers. That's an old Roman bridge there. That's wine coming right out of a wall at a winery. Free wine. You can just fill up. Monastery right next door. Beautiful green scenery. Beautiful mountain. Ah, there's the rain. Yeah, not many people, I heard someone say. The closer we got to Santiago, the more people we saw. That guy right there, that's a guy in the foreground, Jerome. He was the pastor. There he is. There we are. This woman, this young woman, I think she's 25 years old. Her name is Mackenzie. She's from Colorado. And she was riding this contraption because she cannot walk. She's paralyzed. This was made specifically for her by someone in Colorado. She was trying to make her way to this bridge, which was just about as wide as her front 2 tires. She wasn't quite sure that her bike would fit over this bridge, but it was the only way to get across this small stream. She went down a little hill. She kind of fell over. I helped right her, pull her up over this tree root, and she made it across the bridge just barely. And she was so excited afterwards. She was just exhilarated. And she said, "You are my Savior. You helped me." And I said, "Mackenzie, you are the hand of God for me today. Your joy, your exhilaration." I don't know if you have the picture of us both in there or not, Rick. But anyway, that's Mackenzie from Colorado. I saw her again along the way. I love this sign. Go back to that sign, Rick, for a sec. Yeah. So we're at a bridge. Okay, keep going. Now, this is entering what's called the Meseta, long, rather flat roads that go on for days and days. This man is Chris. He's 80 years old, from England. Wonderful guy. We talked books. Call that the yellow. Go back for 1 second. You see the sign there at the bottom, the yellow arrow? You saw those all over the place, directions of where to go. And everywhere you went, people would say, "Buen camino." Have a good journey. Buen camino. And you respond that way. Not only fellow walkers, but people along the side of the road that saw you. Buen camino, they would say. 550 kilometers to go. That's Paddy from Ireland. He sang a song to us near the end of the Camino, which I could play for you. One of the pensions, a gaggle of geese. This is the town of Burgos. Another mural along the way. Rick really liked this one. This is the Good Samaritan story. Somebody stopping along the way to help someone else out in different languages there. There's the village in the far distance that we stopped at that night. This is a little roadside bar. Another place, you'd come across these rolling hills and you'd come to a town that you didn't even see. And you were like dying, and then all of a sudden the village arises. Of course, many churches along the way, and the Camino always takes you to the church. It's really amazing to think that that a community would support a 525-mile path. That's quite amazing, and it's been there for centuries. This is called a bodego, where they will store wine to keep it cool. And I think one of the next pictures, if Rick didn't remove it, is we ate dinner one night in a bodego. Oh, you took it out? Yeah. Okay, that's Grant from England. That's, I think, his 5th Camino that he's done. Fun guy. This guy, I don't know who this was, but you see how decked out he was? It was 43 degrees that morning, and the wind was blowing mightily right in our face. I was not dressed like him. That's how I felt most of the days. This is early morning, Jerome and I. This is the halfway point. We walked to the top of this hill and we got a certificate. The certificates are out there in the credenza if you want to look and see what they are. This is inside the convent where we got that halfway certificate. Little place where we stayed, had lunch, another mural. That's not snow on the road. Some thought it was. It's just cottonwood. 388 kilometers to go. There's the bodego where we had dinner one night. And if you look close at the top, you see a stork. Lots of those. This is one of the bed and breakfasts we stayed at. This is lunch at a cathedral where I left my hiking poles by accident. I had to walk back to get those. This is in Leon, Spain. Beautiful, beautiful cathedral, as you can see there. A woman filling up her water jar from the city square. Some people along the way. I don't remember what town that is. Dinner one night at an albergue, eating with others, hearing their stories. That was along the side of the road for donation. You could take whatever you wanted. Yeah. The guy on the right's from Canada. This is his, I don't know how many Caminos he's done, but he came back to hike with the guy on the far left, whom he had met at an earlier Camino, and another guy not in the picture from Santa Cruz. This was the church in the town where the guy said, if you want a really good hamburger or a good meal, order the hamburger. This was a small church there, and we sat through a Latin Mass, a Gregorian chant Latin Mass, of which I understood almost nothing. And it went on for about a half an hour, all in Latin, all chanted by different priests that were there. It was jam-packed full of people. I stood. This is called the Cruz de Ferro. This is the highest point of the Camino de Santiago. I'm going to refer to it in tomorrow's sermon. People drop stones there that they've carried as symbolizing laying down their burdens at the foot of the cross. It's about 5,000 feet in elevation. There's Jerome pretending to do something. Now this is coming down from that highest point to a small village and another town further on. Cows experiencing the nice cool when it was blistering hot that day. They were smarter than we were. This is coming up called a side route called the Camino Duro, the hard route, which of course we thought, yeah, let's do this. So we had some nice views, but it was a really, really tough day. Tough day, but a beautiful day. Look at the different animals there. You got a donkey, you got a cow, you got a dog. That's why I took that. And then we enter Galicia, which is the westernmost province. Up to a place called O Sobredo. We had fun saying that word over and over again. That's the smallest church along the Camino. Beautiful green. So we've come through the Meseta now. Now we're in the western part of the route, and it gets more beautiful now. This is where Rick and Jan started their 100-kilometer trek at a place called Samos. That's a monastery back there that I toured. And the path continues on. Orero, where they would store their grain. See lots of those over there. Porto Marin, is that right, Rick? 100 kilometers to go. The sign that says that. My pack, by the way, was about 15 kilograms, 35 pounds, way too much, way too much. A witch along the way, I think. She was offering to stamp your passport. I just kept walking. Beautiful, huh? Yeah. I walked about 17 miles a day, every day with no day off. Those are bottles of beer that are lined up along the edge of some establishment where they were partying it up. This is getting pretty close to Santiago. Everybody's excited. The crowds are more, as you can see. See how many people there are? Surprisingly, there's a connection between Ireland and this part of Spain, thus the bagpipes. See some shoes, and there's the final cathedral in Santiago. We went inside the church for pilgrim mass at noon. It was completely packed, sat on the floor, understood very little of what was happening. I did walk up for communion, cross my arms to receive a blessing, because you have to be Catholic to receive. This is lunch afterwards. Yummy. This is the next day, looking back on Santiago as I made my way, continued toward Finisterre and Muxía. Finisterre or Fisterra means the end of the world, end of the earth. And you'll see, there's the photo, Judy. Fisterra one direction, and the town of Sé. The last 3 days I walked 20 plus miles a day. And there you can see Finisterre in the far distance there up on that peninsula. Beaches before you get there. There's the peninsula. And there's the end. Finisterre. Yeah, you wish that were the end of the presentation, but it keeps going. There's the lighthouse at the end of that peninsula, and right in the top center is the room where I stayed. So it was a pretty cool experience. Had dinner up in that area with my friend Jerome. We saw a beautiful sunset. I don't think we have the pictures here. Okay, now this is the next day in Muxía, on the northern coast. What do you have to say for yourself?
It is finished.
Yeah, we had quite the journey. He took a bus to the last 80 miles. He didn't hike with me the last bit. I saw this guy in La Mesa visiting my folks, hiking around. Thank you, Rick, for the humor. All right, so this is back home. We spent a week in Pacific Grove. Thank you to Steve Cameron for letting us enjoy your wonderful place there. Just gorgeous. I rode my bike every day there, up a 17-mile drive. This is our extended family up in Oregon. We were there for Nola's mother's celebration of life. There's Emma and Bennett and Ryan. This was on my birthday in Oregon. Saw that on a bike ride. This is in Eureka, California. That's one of my good friends in high school, Al McLean, is a doctor up in Crescent City. Got to see him after 10 years and had a nice lunch with him. Now this is big, giant tree park or something? Is that what it was called? Big trees, giant trees? Yeah. That's in Eureka. That's a bridge. Something happened there, I don't know. There's a little accident that happened on that bridge. That's a lighthouse in Mendocino. There we are. Beautiful setting. A beach just north of Mendocino. We took some hikes that day. Waterfall. Gorgeous area. And now we're at June Lake. Thank you to the Westlings for allowing us to stay at their wonderful place there. I did a lot of hiking up in the mountains there to take these pictures. Close to 10,000 feet in elevation. It was challenging and wonderful. And now we're down in San Diego, seeing my family. We arrived the night before my dad had open heart surgery. The timing could not have worked out better. I got to spend the last 2.5 weeks with my parents, with my dad. A lot of time spent there, and it was a godsend. It really was, that time shared. That's a bar in San Diego. Thought it was cool looking. Mission Beach. My grandson, Arthur. My daughter, Emily. Our daughter, Emily, and Arthur. He has filled out. He's a happy boy, and we are very happy. That's Dad, Colin. Happy family. That's at my parents' house. And that's the cross at the top of Mount Helix, and I think that's the end. Is it, Rick? Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone. So we went over by 10 minutes. Sorry for that. This also was to be a time of mutual storytelling. So I want to hear your stories out there. And in the next couple of weeks, I want to hear how it went for you while I was away. So yeah, you can tell me all the things that you don't want to tell me. You can tell me those. So anyway, thank you for your support over these last 3 months. Happy to be back with you, and let's go enjoy and eat. Let's have a prayer so we can do that. All right, Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift of community, the gift of your presence, and now how you nourish us through food. Thank you for the hands that have prepared not only the food, but this night that we are sharing together. All glory and praise to you in Jesus' name. Amen. Go in peace. Go eat. Enjoy.